What's the next chapter going to be in Dead by Daylight? Will we see a huge licensed chapter or a standard original? All of that and more. Let's talk about it. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel, and the anniversary is coming around the corner. We have one more mid-chapter patch to go, which should be coming out about next week since it didn't come out today, which means the next thing that we're going to be getting is the anniversary chapter. This is Dead by Daylight's biggest chapter every single year, and I expect nothing less than the best of the best to come out. In the past, we've received some really cool stuff. We've seen a lot of Resident Evil. I'm really expecting things to go crazy this year. In all honesty, we've had really bad chapters back to back. We've had the Skull Merchant and we had the Knight, which is my opinion. You know, you might disagree, you might think they're great chapters, but if you look at the reviews, overall, people are saying that these chapters are not that good, with mixed or negative reviews, meaning that these are more than likely, in the majority's eye, not necessarily the best. To each their own, everyone can have their own opinion. Needless to say, I think Dead by Daylight knows that they really need to put out something huge in order to keep the community entertained and happy. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the leaders of what can come out as the next chapter. Now, before we go ahead and talk about everything else, I got something really cool to show you guys. Now, shout out to YouTooz. You may have guessed what's in this box. And that's right. Starting today, the Dead by Daylight x YouTube collaboration is live. You guys can get your hands on these awesome Dead by Daylight YouTooz. Take a look. We have the Wraith right here. Oh, it's so awesome. Look at the awesome box art on this. This is absolutely amazing. There's literally art everywhere. This is a collector's dream. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for you guys. This is absolutely amazing. And a big thank you again to YouTooz for actually sponsoring today's video and sending me this awesome YouTooz. This is just fantastic. I mean, there's art everywhere. Here's the actual box. This is what you guys will be getting. Number 3, the Wraith. And you can see on every single side, there is a little bit of artwork that you guys will be able to see. There's even some awesome text on the back. I believe that's from Benedict Baker. And everything is really awesome and cool. I really like this. Like, this is super duper cool. Even when you open the box, on top there's some text as well. And then let's take a look at the figurine itself. Here we are, the Wraith. Take a look at that. That is absolutely amazing. I love it. It's so sturdy too. This is really the bang for your buck right there. So again, you guys can go ahead and pick yourselves up all of these YouTooz x DBD collaboration. These are amazing. These are absolutely amazing. You can get yourself these figurines. Link will be down below. And a big thank you again to YouTooz. This is amazing. This is going right on my setup. I love it so much. Look at it. Thank you again to YouTooz for sponsoring. This is amazing. And thank you for sending me this early. So there's two situations. We have the licensed situation and the unlicensed situation. Now I'm going to go with the more likely of the two, which is the licensed situation. So what exactly can we expect to come out? The biggest thing that I can think of is Jason. A long time ago, Jason was on everyone's #1 list. Everybody kind of knows about the lawsuit with Jason and Friday the 13th and everything that's been going on. It's been a long back and forth. However, last year of October, I did an interview with Matthew Cote. And at this point, some parts of this long-winded debate and lawsuit and everything got a lot less complicated when there were some settlements. The court was ruling in some cases, which could potentially lead to some openings that they could have used. Now, we know that these licenses take time, and typically things are planned out months and months, if not years in advance, which means that something like Jason could still happen in Dead by Daylight for the anniversary event, and it would fit to be the anniversary event. We've never necessarily seen any killers take Jason's power of what would just be powering through pallets and maybe even walking through vaults and things like that. They never gave a killer that power, maybe because it's reserved. As we know, Jason has an open invitation to come into Dead by Daylight. So you never know what could happen. Now, some of the only stipulations with this is that because of the case ruling, Miller cannot use a Friday the 13th title at all. He can't use anything that came out from the sequels, which means there's no hockey mask Jason, there's no adult Jason, and they also said that the termination of the copyright to the first movie only applies in the US, so there's no worldwide distribution. So that would mean that those who are in the US would have to use Kid Jason, essentially. So I don't exactly know what they could do or how they could make this work out. The closest thing we have in the game to Jason is Trapper, so we'll see exactly how it all works out. But hey, that's the first thing that I have in my list. Alrighty, so the next thing on the list is Stranger Things. Now this one is quite interesting. Obviously, Stranger Things have left Dead by Daylight, but we know that Stranger Things Season 5 will begin recording on May/June of 2023. We also know that Netflix pulling out and deciding to leave and doing all whatever nonsense they were doing, it didn't work out. I'm sure we all expected it, but it didn't work out. So they're going to be looking for new ways to capitalize, to make money, things like that. We've heard rumors of them returning to Fortnite with some new assets appearing in some game files, with Vecna's grandfather clock recently been data mined. This was back in January. Obviously, we haven't heard much about it yet. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see exactly what happens. If they end up coming back into Dead by Daylight, I think they would have to bring back the Demogorgon, Steve Nancy, and then bring new things. They would have to bring Vecna into the game, and he would fit so perfectly as well. A long time ago, we had quote-unquote leaks that this was going to happen and this was going to come back, which I was like, no, this seems a lot like BS. But it does give us an idea of what a new chapter could look like coming into the game. Now, again, there's no concrete evidence about any of this. Netflix could just be like, screw it, we're not working with you, we're kind of done, and that's that. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think one day they're going to come back to Dead by Daylight, and they're going to be crawling back, which is ironic because the first episode is called The Crawl of their new season, and they're going to be coming back and asking Dead by Daylight to be in their game when they know how much money they could really make. Carrying on forward is Predator and Alien. Now, Pauly has a fantastic video showcasing to you all of the similarities between the Skull Merchant and Predator. I'm sure you guys have seen it from the triangle, from the weapon, from the way it moves, from the way the map looks. Everything like that is so almost the same. It's all weird how similar they are. So it could mean that Predator could be coming into Dead by Daylight at some point in time. It's not too far-fetched considering that we've seen other killers that are super similar to other killers. For example, we have the Hillbilly that was very close to the Cannibal. You know, we have the Legion, which was eerily similar to the Ghostface. Tons and tons more in the game that are very close to huge licenses. This could mean that maybe their DLC hopes fell apart, or maybe they were trying to entice Predator to come in and be like, look, we can make your power work and we can even give you something else. So here it is. This is what we're going to do. And this could have pulled them a little bit. Now, the reason why I tie these two together is because they're both owned by 20th Century Studios, which means that more than likely they're going to be in the same boat. If they're not giving us Predator, they might not give us Alien. Maybe they give us both. Maybe they give us neither. But I've tied them together because it just makes sense that if one of them comes, eventually the other one will come if it does good, which we know it'll more than likely be good. Now, Alien also fits perfectly in the game. We saw We Designs make a fantastic video showcasing what this would look like. Again, there's no solid evidence for this, but in my opinion, this is the front runner for what's coming. The only tiny bit of evidence that we have is from a tweet that was light, and this is really stretching it. Back in the days, we used to kind of theorize upon all of this, but people got smart since this. But essentially, the person that's responsible for the licenses at Disney and 20th Studio Century tweeted out a couple of times about Dead by Daylight back in the past. Thank you to Mintskull. He made a full dedicated video to this, which I will link in the description. But he spoke about this in 2022, saying there's a lot of legendary horror characters in Dead by Daylight. Who do you guys want to see make an appearance next? and he liked a couple of tweets that talked about Alien for DBD 7th year anniversary killer. That would be kind of interesting. People are also tying this to Alien Day. Alien Day in 2023 will be on April 26th. There's rumored that there's going to be another Alien game coming out in fall of 2023. So what this can more than likely mean is that if all of this is happening and the hype is around, similar to how they announced Resident Evil, they could announce this on their Alien Day stream or whatever they're going to put out and be like, hey, we're coming to Dead by Daylight, and then the community's hyped and ready to go. And it works. You know, this is the one that really works, where people are like, all right, you know what? I can see what's happening, and you get even more hyped knowing what's eventually happening. So we'll wait and see. I hope that something like this does end up coming into Dead by Daylight. It would be really, really awesome. Now, on the flip side, we spoke about things that are non-licensed, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it could literally be anything at any point. But from the Tome stuff that we've seen, and we know they've worked on Tome stuff before with the Blight, we've seen Vlad the Impaler, who is essentially a, vampire coming in. That could be something that we see in the future. Hopefully something like that does happen. We could see the giant spider monster. That would be pretty cool for a anniversary event. Having something that's so non-humanoid and an insect at that, would be crazy, because we never necessarily seen anything like that. That's another thing that's been showcased numerous times in the Tome. And of course, we have the Observer. We haven't really heard much about the Observer in a very long time. We know his story is not done, and maybe the Observer could come into the fog and we can see what he's like. Those are the three possibilities, in my opinion, and the most likely possibilities for a non-licensed character to come in. So we'll have to wait and see what it all entails. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is pretty much all of the theories that I have for you guys. Again, nothing is too, rooted or based. Nothing is really like, this is it, this is what's going to happen, because it's still very early. We haven't really had much teases or information. It's been locked down, which I'm happy about, because there's no spoilers whatsoever. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with everything. With that being said, I've been your host, The King. I hope you guys did enjoy. As always, I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.